I'm using the term advisedly. I think Freddie Mercury was a genius. If you're a genius, you have certain liberties which are given to you by society, and you can act a little different. You can act, and you're expected to. I got it. And I like the music that I heard, actually, you know, in the studio. Let's go chasing rainbows in the sky. You know what? The hell with it. I'll have Freddie Mercury. I won't need Queen.
It's quite outrageous, yeah, and I think it's new for me as well because I've actually allowed an orchestra to go absolutely mad rather than restrict them. I just said, play all the notes that you haven't played in your life before, and so they were all just went completely crazy, and so there's basically a world war going on that track.
Though loved by the fans, the Mr. Bad Guy album was a commercial flop.
It did about 160,000, which for another person, you know, would have been an interesting result. For an offshoot of Queen, you know, it was a great disappointment. It was certainly not among my best deals that I've ever done. Despite the fact that, you know, the thing was not a success, I'm glad we did this thing together, you know, as part of my memory bank. And the fact that it didn't work, excuse me, fuck it. I don't know if you're going to edit that out or not. Guilt stains on my pillow.
He was absolutely genius.
Mike is an absolute genius.
I mean, I told him that many times, you're a genius, and he said...
Absolute genius.
When we were doing Hot Space, we started in Switzerland, then went on to Munich. As time went by, it got longer and longer, and people didn't show up, people went skiing. Freddie actually became the godfather of all my children, simply because I made a bet. I just said to Freddie, I think it's easier to conceive and give birth to a child than getting this album finished. I think I won by about a week. Freddie, I mean, really took the Godfather thing terribly serious. You know, he gave him, like a set of cutlery and teddy bears about 10 miles high and all sorts of stuff, and really constantly asked, how is he eating all right, what are you feeding him? And I mean, I think he cared more than his mother did. New York, you're gaining on me. New York, you're just that one step far away.
In New York, you could really walk on the wild side, you know. That was why I was here, and clearly why, you know, many other people, including Freddie, were drawn to spend a lot of time here. New York, you're just that one step far away.
If we were going to, the Saint or something in New York, he would join the queue of people to get in rather than just go to the front and just get ushered in, because he didn't want to be seen to be famous, sort of thing. But everybody would then say, oh look, it's Freddie Mercury standing in the queue.
Freddie was an adventurer, you know. We were both interested in blurring the lines, and you could do that in New York like no other city in the world. In the late 70s and into the 80s, it was really, if you want to talk about decadence, well, this was the place to be truly decadent. You could be the extreme part of your personality, and that was what was exciting about New York. Of course, that's what has killed a lot of people over the years, and nearly got me eventually. And I'm sure, it was here that that Freddie contracted the illness that killed him.
Though he once thought Montreux tediously quiet, Freddie's increasing appreciation of its tranquil beauty led him from the late 80s onwards to buy a flat there and occupy his time with its decoration. This distracted him partially from the far more serious matter at hand. Though they all heard about it in different ways, the news that Freddie was HIV positive was equally devastating for all those close to him.
I received a telephone call from Freddie's GP to say that he'd had no response from telephone calls and would I remind him to call, which I did. Subsequently got calls back saying I still haven't had a call from Freddie. So I pursued, and in the end I was told why the GP needed to speak to Freddie. And I felt my heart fall out of my boots.
I suppose anyone's immediate reaction is, oh my God, are you sure? Yes, I am sure, darling. I have the best doctor, the best of everything. And a natural reaction, I suppose, is to say, well, let's find somebody else. You know, and he then just said to me, he said, well, listen, the door's always open if you want to leave. And I suppose my reaction was, I just looked at him and said, listen, don't be so silly. I'm not going to walk all over something like this.
One of our visits, family visits, we were in his bedroom, just me and Roger, and he just told us.
I was in the kitchen on my own, and he came down from upstairs, and he just said, well, look, I've got something to tell you. I says, yeah, okay. He says, look, you know I'm sick, don't you? And I said, well, yeah, I've got a good idea. He says, you know what it is? I said, yeah. He says, well, that's it. You know, that's it. It's not going to be talked about anymore. We do not speak about it anymore.
And then at one point he decided to just sort of invited us all over to the house for a meeting. And he just sort of told us, you know, the absolute facts, the facts that we were really starting to realise anyway. And really that produced a coming together, a closing of the ranks.
The way he was telling me that, you know, I am a seropositive, he says, and I developed the illness. I says, but you are so strong, and you sing like you sing, and yes, I still can do it, he says, but it comes a moment no more, and I know that, and I want you to know, because it's my duty to tell you this. I says, no, it's not duty, but I am very thankful that you have told me, because that means I have your friendship, and this is most important as anything to me.
Everything had to be treated very normally. He had to be treated normally. And if you found that you were flagging, you were becoming too emotional, then you would have to, he would naturally, I think, push you back in line and bring forward who he felt that he could rely on for what he needed.
Because of his illness, he had it. So he, you know, as I say, he didn't need someone else to remind him all the time.
He used to love us and respect us so much that he didn't want to hurt us. And we knew all along and we didn't want to displease him because we loved him equally well, as much. But that was sad.
At first, I couldn't believe what he was telling me. Basically, it was just going above my head. It was only later in the months as he deteriorated that it started to sink in. But even then, I just kept on hoping he would come out of it.
We knew it in August, September, that he was really ill. And he was in Montreux. And always he used to be with us on my birthday. And this birthday, he sent me flowers from Montreux. I said, I'm sorry, Mom. This time I can't be with you on your birthday, but I'll make it up. But of course it was October, and then of course he was very ill. It was very sad at that time.